So yesterday we had a conversation and we asked you, Asitinemu to saying, you're a taxpayer, aren't you? And I don't know whether you're satisfied with the kind of economy we have right now. Well, that's music from the late Lucky Dubé singing Taxman. But it's another song that I like for us to enjoy for like a minute. It is music from Don Carlos. He calls this one 7 days a week. Just listen to the words in the song.
To be this way, working every day just for this little pay. 7 days a week, got to be upon my feet. Rain or shine, got to be out in the street. For so long I've been working so hard, 9 to 5 just to keep my kids alive. Freedom is a must, I know, no matter how they fuss and go. Heaven know that it is my philosophy. Oh Jah, hear me when I pray.
Don Carlos there, 7 days a week is the song title. Listen, you can Google the song later after the show and listen to the song. Listen to the words in there. 7 days a week, you're up on your feet. You're working so hard just because you want to put, food on the table for yourself and your kids and people that depend on you. It is not easy. It is not easy. Not just in Ghana, but in the whole wide world. But in Ghana, yes, it's not easy. Times are really hard. Times are really tough. All right, so to our conversation this morning. So, in fulfillment of Section 28, of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, and Regulation 24 of the Public Financial Management Regulations LI 2378, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta presented the mid-year fiscal policy review of the 2023 budget statement and economic policy of the government of Ghana. He did this yesterday, Monday, the very last day in the month of July. Now, he touched on, the performance of some flagship programs. We can make mention of the free SHS, Planting for Food and Jobs, and many others. Now, here are excerpts of some of the things that he touched on in the mid-year review as presented to Ghana through Parliament yesterday.
Mr. Speaker, I'll be the first to admit that it has been an extraordinarily difficult year for our country and our citizens. Our economic crisis also emanates from fundamental and systemic weaknesses that we must boldly confront. These include our low revenue to GDP ratio, our high demand and dependence on imports, including food products that can easily be produced here, and economic governance and weak SOE governance. Mr. Speaker, in partnership with the National Service Team, about 20,000 acres of land in Sechre Kumawu in the Ashanti region is being developed to accelerate maize, tomato, groundnuts, and animal production. Mr. Speaker, government expects that by end 2023, the DEP will have fully seeded some 7,500 acres of rice onboarded qualified private sector entrepreneurs as anchor farmers embarked on value chain activities such as rice milling and packaging in Kasunya. With these efforts, Mr. Speaker, we expect to gradually drive down the food component of inflation, create jobs for our youth, improve food security, and reduce the volatility of the forest market. Mr. Speaker, there will be renewed efforts to undertake the necessary reforms and implement very critical measures. As a finance minister and a family man myself, I'll continue to work hard to build and sustain a favorable macroeconomic environment and remain confident that the prices of goods and services will reflect the trend for all of us, for all our families and enterprises.
So those are excerpts from what the finance minister presented to Parliament yesterday. And so the simple question is, did the mid-year budget review meet your expectations? Did it meet your expectations? What thoughts do you have on what he presented to the nation yesterday? You can send us your own view of what you make of what he presented to our WhatsApp number 055-1111-995. All right, 055-1111-995. Now, as I speak, we are live on Facebook on LUV 99.5 FM. You can join us on Facebook as well with some thoughts and some comments. Now, I'd like to say a big happy birthday to you, Dr. Hansen Mesa Akute, Regional Chief Manager, Ashanti Production Ghana Water Company Limited. Today, I'm told it's your birthday, so please enjoy the day today. Max, God richly bless you. And I hope to see you soon. I mean, I know there's going to be a party. We'll all be part of that beautiful event and enjoy ourselves. Also, Chroma Aisha, yeah? So happy birthday to you, sir. I've got Mr. Evans Nunu with me. He doesn't want me to use the title doctor, so let me stick to the Mr. Evans Nunu. He's an economist and an entrepreneur, and he's with us in the studios of Love 99.5 to help us understand what the finance minister presented to us. And we'll be focusing more attention on areas that affect us directly as a region, and I'm talking about the Ashanti region. Nunu, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, let me ask you to take a minute or two and tell us what you make of what the finance minister presented yesterday. Did it meet your expectation?
Obviously not, but I think that the review statement was quiet, honest, realistic, straight to the point. These were things I think they did so well, and it was fairly devoid of political gimmicks. So I think this time around they did.
It was well. Because even the soundbite I played a while ago, if you listen to what he said, he talks about the fact that if it had been under any other administration, they would have found it difficult to manage the situation as they have. So at least there was a bit of it in there, wasn't it?
Yeah, so fairly. But then, previously they would have started even the figures from probably 2016 compared to 2019 and then come to because, in most cases they pick from 2019 because those were the good old days. But I think yesterday they were straight to the point. It was quite honest and realistic, and I think.
But let me say it was honest and realistic. How come people on the other side, from the MPP side, shied away from journalists? They were not comfortable talking to our guys on the ground. At Parliament, the MPP was not prepared to respond to any question, even share their thoughts on it.
Yes, you see, it was in the books, and the statement itself was okay, but practically. It paints a very bleak future, and in fact, the hope I even had was eroded after the reading of the.
We'll talk about the hope you had and how it's been eroded. But one of the key things that came out of the conversation, in fact, one of the key talking points, the biggest talking points out of the presentation, had to do when he talked about the fact that we have turned the corner. Now, I have heard people, for example, say that if he had said that we're turning the corner, it would have been more acceptable than for him to have gone straight away to say we have turned the corner. That was in the concluding parts of the presentation. As an economist yourself, have we turned the corner?
I think he was talking with reference to COVID-19 and the turbulence it left in its wake. And in that regard, I think he could be right because he just did not say it in a vacuum. He made that statement in reference to something. I mean, COVID-19. And he was specific why he said that.
But generally, if you look at the economy, he goes on, for example, to talk about the fact that we'll end the year with inflation hovering around 31%, something that they had already predicted after the IMF deal that will do around 18%. Talks about interest rate that's high and all that. I mean, have we really turned the corner?
No, in general, we have not. But what I'm saying is, this statement started from the early part throughout, and he repeated it throughout. But I think that at a point, he stated why he was saying that, and I think the reasons were that there had not been food shortages and long queues at the filling stations. We have had lights on all throughout, and so I think that he was talking about the aftermath of the COVID-19. Obviously, he was silent on the Russia-Ukraine war, but I'm sure that was quite inherent in it because these twins have been their point of inflection or whatever you can call it. But that was it about the turning corner. But in general, I think we are doing worse than ever.
But you mentioned, please go ahead.
And I think even last year looked better than this year, especially with what I'm also hearing in the reports I went through about Bank of Ghana. I think that Ghana, we should be very careful. The way things are going, in fact, yesterday I was very sad.
I had somebody, for example, say that the Bank of Ghana is bankrupt. I don't know what that.
Serious. I read through their financial reports and I was like, how could this happen? You see, and I've always maintained that we've revered Bank of Ghana for a long time. I don't know why it is so. We easily take the government to the gutters, and we are always scrutinizing our fiscal policies, but we do not pay much attention to our monetary policies. I tell you, the expenditure levels and the kind of things they do there. God should help us.
But is the Bank of Ghana, bankrupt?
Yeah, they are recording negative balances and stuff. I think it's very serious. Yes, it's almost as if they also need a bailout.
But again, we hear that we're going to end the year on inflation around 31% instead of the 18% projected and all that. How bleak does that make the economy, especially as we'll be ending the year on 31% instead of 18% inflation and all?
Very, very bleak. Look, how can a nation say that? We are targeting, and they started off with 18%, and we had all anticipated that we're going to earn around. I knew that 18 was going to be difficult, especially given the fact that we are in the middle of the year. From last month, we had been in the middle of the year, and the figures were not too good. But I never imagined that the government would accept, given the IMF deal, that the government would accept that we are going to end the year with a target of 31%, and that is so dangerous. And it means that we should all start crying, because we have quite a good number of our people employed and are receiving fixed salaries. The simplest meaning is that your income will be worse than ever, because they claim it's because they increased salaries by 30%, public sector wages by 30%. But now we are even going to have to end with 31% of inflation, which is higher than that. Remember, policy rate is already 30%, and we are still targeting inflation that is higher than that. So I think we have every reason to worry as a nation, because it's almost as if our economic policies are not even working, and nothing makes sense. You understand? I pity those who teach economics in the various universities, because we are in dangerous times, especially those that teach economy of Ghana.
but if you look at the statement that's presented by the finance minister in general, where, for example, he didn't come asking for additional funding, and he didn't introduce new taxes and all that, isn't that a positive? Again, I have heard people prior to this presentation raise concerns that, well, they would love for the finance minister to talk about doing away of some taxes and all, like the e-levy and other taxes. Let's first of all tackle the issue of he not asking about increase in taxes, or he not introducing new taxes. Isn't that a positive for us, especially business people?
Well, there's nothing positive or negative about it. Look, if we had sharp guys, if we had people who are really in control of the situation here, people who really understood our mechanisms, if we do a budget for the year and you are coming to review, I don't expect fresh things. I mean, we have already had a plan that this is how we are going to sail through. This is the direction we are moving. So if in the middle of the year we are reviewing, why bring on board new taxes and blah, 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 blah. So this is how it's supposed to be. I think this is just a normal thing they've done. All right. So they're not bringing on board new taxes or introducing fresh policies. I think it's just in order. And this is the kind of thing we should be seeing.
Is that to suggest that you yourself were not expecting any removal of some of these levies or taxes? That was what you were expecting?
I was expecting update on them, and unfortunately I didn't even get some of the update I was expecting. For example, e-levy, I wanted an update on it. Toll booth, the tolling of our roads, they have not started it yet, and I was expecting some reasons why they have stated in the budget that we are going to implement it.
What review did you want on the e-levy, for example?
So in the previous year we didn't meet the target, and we had to revise it downwards. So I wanted to know how we are faring with that, and if there would be the need to maintain it or to continue with it. Obviously, because they didn't talk about it, I feel they are okay, they are comfortable with the current margin. But they should have told us something about it. Remember, they brought in some taxes. They converted the fiscal responsibility levy to growth and sustainability levy, and then they introduced a new income tax band, 35% for those in the higher brackets. All these things, I wanted something about it, because they modified them this year. Since then, everything has been swept under the carpet. We don't know whether we are doing well or not. And some people were making a lot of advocates for the removal or probably an adjustment or modification on the taxes on parts. And Love FM has
sanitary
been
parts,
sanitary parts. Love FM has been talking about it, and because of that, I also gained interest in it. But they didn't touch on it. I don't know whether.
And other people are also talking about import duties. I mean, after the presentation yesterday, our team went to Kokompe and other places to engage with traders there, talking about the stabilization of the city and whether it was impacting positively on what they do. People had issues with it. So based on what you're saying, that you were not expecting the reduction or the removal of these taxes, would you be surprised if somebody who's a business person, for example, comes to say, well, they are disappointed that, for example, the special import levy was not scrapped, COVID-19 levy was not scrapped, should they be disappointed?
I didn't expect, removal of taxes around this time. Remember,
businesses are complaining.
Yes, they are complaining, but the thing is that we are not of ourselves, as it were. We are quite entangled because of our IMF deal, and they are monitoring us. Remember, the conversation has been that we have to achieve fiscal consolidation, and so they are seeking to increase revenue and reduce expenditure. That has been the plan. So asking them to remove taxes will be very difficult, very, very difficult.
All right, so I want to, at this point in time, let me share with you something that I put. So Leo, from my WhatsApp page, play for me the Joseph Obeng, and Joseph Obeng, as we all know him, is the president for GUTA. Take a listen to what he had to say about what he heard yesterday from the media budget review, please.
The interest rate that we pay, the inflation that we are experiencing. And so we need to do even more. The promise that you work on inflation and then the interest rate by adopting the fiscal measures and all that. They were not specific on what they are specifically going to do to contain inflation. And that much is expected of government, especially in the coming November budget. And so we'll still engage with government to achieve that. But we are going to be insistent on the fact that the COVID levy and then the special import levy will all be out of the table.
So that's Joseph Obeng, Dr. Joseph Obeng, President GUTA, saying that, so for example, the special import levy, the COVID-19 levy should be out of the table. So if, for example, we're going to have the 2024 budget presented somewhere in November, is this something you think the finance minister should focus on?
I don't foresee that. But you see, the COVID-19 levy, my point is that if it is the name that is the problem, they should change it and give it a better name. You see, it's almost as if they need the money. And if you need the money, putting it there when COVID-19 is really not a problem doesn't make sense. And it's almost as if you take us for fools. So try and do something about it. Just give it a better name so that we are aware it's the money you need, but don't just put it there as if you're using it to solve COVID-related problem. You understand?
And again, the import duties, like I said yesterday, there's a gentleman who imports vehicles, and if you look at the list of 23 or so levies and taxes that they pay for duties, there's COVID-19 in there, like 2. Yes. Given two different names. When we're doing the sanitary pad campaign, if you look at the taxes also on the sanitary pads, there were some 2 items all related to COVID-19. So for you, government needs the money.
That is what I suspect.
So then they should rather give it a different name rather than keep the name COVID-19 levy, and then we're not using the money for anything COVID related.
And whatever reason for which they need the money should be defined well, properly. Then we are all clear in our minds. So that, for example, if it is because of their intention to build more hospitals, that's why they are keeping that money, then they should tell us the reason why they need the money and give it a better name to suit it than to put COVID there as if they are solving a COVID problem when COVID is no more in the system. All right. So I think these are some of the issues. But seriously, because of the kind of policies we are running and the fact that the government does not still have access to the international credit market, it will be very difficult for the government to go about removing taxes. I'm sure that was the reason the government was even silent on the sanitary pad issue. You understand? And so those that are advocating for the removal of taxes on sanitary pads, I think that we have to come better. And because I support that, I think that we all need to come better. And I'm saying that we cannot say that a certain gender must not pay taxes because they are that gender. So we cannot say that simply because women are women, they should not pay taxes. It doesn't really lie well. So I think that we need to define our quest. Is it the case that I want to help the poor? If that is the case, then we have to define which sanitary pads are mostly used by the poor and give it for free or subsidize it. So because I'm very sure we have a certain bracket of women who use highly priced sanitary pads to suit their ego or probably to feel prestigious, and those ones must pay taxes. But we have some that are low branded or something like a sort of a sort, and those ones are mostly used by JHS students and the unemployed and people we may claim not to have much. Those ones could be subsidized or even given for free. So we need to probably, if the government is not listening, and you see, we should not joke because women are more than men. And this is something they do every month. the implication is that the revenue from there could be very high, because if every month every woman is buying sanitary pad and they are paying tax on it, and there are as many as we can all think about or imagine, then it's something the government will find difficult totally removing. But if we really want to help the poor, then we have to redefine the advocates.
But if you say government cannot do away with some of these taxes, and so for those who are calling for some of these tax removals, well, they should not hope for that. The other issue that comes up is the fact that revenue generation is a big deal, and only a few people are paying taxes. And again, if you look at Appendix 159 of the media budget review as presented to Parliament yesterday, the Finance Minister talks about, and let me just take a portion. He says, in all these meetings with stakeholders, provided insights into issues such as widening the tax net. That, to you as an economist, do you think that we've done enough to widen the tax net?
I don't think so. That is a problem. I think that introduction of new taxes would only worsen our situation. Now we have to focus on broadening the tax base and roping in more people. Raking in more workers and individuals who have a way of dodging taxes or evading taxes, or probably even avoiding taxes. And that is a conversation we should all have. So if you say that we should broaden the tax base, I totally support it. And it is only when we do that that the government can listen to some of these advocates we are making.
But what are we doing about it? I mean, for example, we have used the Ghana card to connect, as a TIN number. And a lot of people, if not every Ghanaian, a lot of Ghanaians have the Ghana card. And it's also part of being used as a TIN. How can we maximize that? How can we use that to broaden the tax net?
Yes, so it only creates an identity, tax identity for individuals. So, for example, in the education setup, they give you index number. That index number is to give you a unique identity, so that if you are Evans Nunu and I'm also Evans Nunu, we don't fight over who had the best results, simply because we all have the same names. So we want to know who is who in terms of tax. Okay. And that is all. But after you have been given an index number, the index number cannot give you certificate. You understand? So the fact that you have tax identification number doesn't mean that it will obviously get the revenue from you or give you some money out of which the revenue must be paid.
Wouldn't that enable you to identify who the person is and be able to tax that person?
Yes, but if the person is not doing anything or create the impression that he's not doing anything, then you can't tax the person. And so beyond identifying the person, there should be a way of knowing who is doing what and how much is coming out of it.
Because we have a lot of artisans out there,
yes,
who make a lot of money but are not paying taxes.
The last time I was telling you that these artisans, we could introduce alliances for them, and the license should be in grades, so that every year, at the end of every year, you may have to, or if you want to get higher contract, say for example, let's take for example the electricians or masons. So if we're a mason, for example, we give you license A, for example, and that is supposed to be for erecting 1 room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms, a certain number. If you want to build 2-story, you have to get, let's say, license B. But before you graduate to license B, you have to tell us all the works you've done and the experience you have in the system, so that if you lied, we can easily fish you out. But in as much as you are telling us that you are not doing anything, then we cannot upgrade the license for you. So there should be a way to make people more honest, and to be able to track their dealings.
One other thing that the Finance Minister touched on, at this point in time ongoing, I would like for us to center and focus attention on Ashanti region and Kumasi for that matter. He goes on to talk about he says, Mr. Speaker, in partnership with the National Service Scheme, about 20,000 acres of land in Sechekumeu in the Ashanti region is being developed to accelerate maize, tomato, groundnuts, and animal production. Now, this is good news, is it? Because he talks about the fact that government expects that by end of 2023, the EEP will have fully seeded 7,500 acres of rice on boarded qualified private sector. And he talks about entrepreneurs as anchor farmers embarked on value chain activities such as rice milling and packaging in Kusenya and all that, agriculture. And this is because in his presentation, he made us aware that we are so much import driven. and there are things that we can produce, we can grow here that could help our economy. So what do you make of this move?
Yeah, it's a very nice move. And you see, that is a part of the budget I really was comfortable with, especially when he talks about their priority now with regards to the planting for food and jobs, where he talks about storage facilities and infrastructure growth in silos and stuff. I think that they did well. But my point is they did not really tell us whether they have gotten the money to finance these things, because it should come with huge investment. And then they also talk about the Ghana Cares, under which we have the economic enclave, and that is where Kumewu comes in. And I think it's a fantastic idea. My only hope is that it doesn't become a bookish thing. We get practical with it. But if the government is going to go by what they have stated in the budget, then I think that we'll be fine in terms of agriculture.
And of course, it's going to create more jobs for the youth as well. But my concern is, if you look at how much we've pumped already into planting for food and jobs, some 2 billion, what have we really got to show for it? Such that if that has given us some yields, some great positives, some great strides, then we can say, okay, so this is also going to add to it. But having pumped 2 billion into the planting for food and jobs, and we don't have really much to show, because even go on the market, food inflation, as you and I know, is quite high. I mean, prices of the goods, foodstuff or food items is quite high. Now, to be able to succeed with this program, we have to be able to get enough fertilizers. And so at this point in time, I'd like for Eugene again, go into my WhatsApp and then listen to the NDC MP for Anglong constituency, Richard Kwame Sefa, who says farmers are struggling to get important farming inputs, especially fertilizers. This morning when we were listening to Professor Enin, he talks about the fact that some people are smuggling fertilizers to Togo
and turn them into IEDs.
Turn them into bombs. So take a listen to the MP and concerns raised about fertilizer. First of all, listen to the figures and the increase in fertilizer.
Most of them are just willing and ready to work, to even do more than what they have been doing. But because the inputs, that is fertilizer, the insecticides, and other boosters, you have some around, but the cost, last 2 years, 50 kg fertilizer, NPK, was around 98 Ghana cedis. This year, last year, it increased to 210 Ghana cedis. But all of a sudden this year, we are going as high as 450, 460 Ghana cedis. As a result, most of them could not project into the future.
So if you look at how high the cost of fertilizer is, which of course is an input we would need to succeed when we want to do this farming thing, how do you see it?
Yes, it's sad. It is something that when we were young, we were told that we the Fantis were using Fanti Kenke to fight in one of those wars. This thing is coming back to us. Anyways, I think that we really have to pay attention to some of these things, because food price could be driven by high input prices. So the PPI would obviously drive the CPI, and we should pay attention to that. You see, you made mention of 2 billion. So that was pumped into planting for food and jobs. Yeah. And I was thinking, over what period? Because over the years we see the budget for the secretariat. I mean that policy, and I honestly think that it's not enough. But what I also am happy about is the areas they want to pump or they are giving attention: rice, vegetables, tomatoes. These have been
groundnuts.
The price of these things have been rising like something. So I think it's a good thing. But then, if it is the case that they are wasting fertilizer, they are creating bomb out of fertilizers, then the government would have to find a way of curbing it. You see, we have to find a way of curbing it. Otherwise, it will waste the effort.
How hopeful are you that we'll be able to succeed in this quest?
Implementation of this policy, it will be very difficult, especially given the fact that the government is always looking for money to do what it deems important and it's not getting. So I think this will be one of the kind of things we need money for. Getting 10,000 acres of land at Kumewu, and it isn't Kumewu alone.
20,000 actually.
I mean, under the enclave is 10,000, and the National Service one is 20,000. Yeah, so totally we looking at over 30,000 acres. And because it's government, we have to get seedlings and other things, pay people to do. I think we need a lot of money for that, and I wonder if the government really has it. But let's hope for the best.
Let's indeed hope for the best. And of course, one other thing that was mentioned in the media review budget that had Ashanti in there has to do with some roads, and we're talking about the Lake Road. I can attest to it that I use that Coca-Cola road towards Estresso, and Finance Minister says it's about 98% complete. Well, initially, Delali and I, some weeks ago, we talked about the fact that there are no markings on the road. I've seen some markings down, no street lights. I've seen some street lights erected. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I saw traffic lights being mounted and all that. So yes, that is ongoing. But the other challenge, the other mention, has to do with the Swami interchange.
Yeah.
And all that the finance minister said was that works were ongoing. Now, knowing how important and the benefits such a interchange will bring to us, and the fact that in the past we've begun projects that we've not been able to complete, even this, that interchange, Sofaline interchange. Look at how long it took us. Whether we even completed it fully, I can't really tell.
It's not complete.
It's not completed. Sofaline interchange started at that before. Question is, under the circumstances we find ourselves in right now, how hopeful are you? How feasible is it to be able to complete the Swami interchange within the 36 months that we are told?
The Bible talks about how difficult it is for
Don't quote the Bible like finance minister does all the time.
The Bible talks about how difficult it is for a rich man to go through to heaven.
The eye of the camel.
Exactly. So
the eye of the needle. Sorry.
Yes, and I think that this one will be very difficult, very, very difficult, extremely difficult in this time for the government to complete the Swami interchange, a 40-year interchange.
It's not possible.
It will be extremely difficult. I told you right from I think 2 years ago or so.
6 months. I mean,
that's this thing is a problem. Where they say, I hear that they already have the money there. They were able to secure some monies for it, but. My only prayer is that the government will have the zeal to use the money for that purpose, because like I told you, it's almost as if the government really needs money, and we are not getting the taxes. This year we projected for 143 billion, right? Yes, that can't be a joke. Remember, we are doing a budget deficit of 7.7% agreed deficit. Look, last year we anticipated to do 6.6% of budget deficit, and we ended up doing 11%. This year, it is 7.7%. Ask yourself, where is the money coming from? Now, Bank of Ghana, that has been doing monetary financing, is already swallowing air. So Bank of Ghana is broke.
It's broke. Yeah. It's broke.
So I think this one will be a very difficult project.
So in all this, one of the key things that people have raised concerns about and have looked forward to, and listeners, you can also share your thoughts with us. We're talking about the media budget review as presented to Parliament, to Ghanaians by the Finance Minister yesterday. They didn't meet your expectations. We've talked about a couple of things already in the presentation. We're just about wrapping up. We'll be activating the phone lines to hear from you as well. But my next question has to do with the fact that people have been talking about cutting expenditure. And if you look at what the Finance Minister presented in terms of even Agenda 111, he says about 86 of them are on course, and some are not on course. Wouldn't it be prudent for us to say, under the economic situations we find ourselves in right now, the ones that we have not started, because it got upon the time even acquiring a land for the construction was a challenge. So if the ones that we have not started, let's forget about them for now. Let's put them on hold entirely. And maybe, if possible, the ones that we think are very important, very dear to a community, complete those ones, okay? Is it also not possible that we can also look at other areas? Because, again, people have talked about cutting down on presidential staffers and appointees and all that. That could also save us some money. But if you listen to the economist, the Deputy Finance Minister, for example, talks about the fact that we've been able to cut expenditure by some 20 billion. Is that enough, or we could do more?
I don't think it's enough, and we should be strategic in this whole thing about fiscal consolidation. I believe that we don't have to worry ourselves starting new projects that we have not already started. We have to concentrate on those that we have started, because we are all very much aware that the government is struggling to meet wage bills and the likes. But for the IMF, we're in a very serious situation. We all know what has happened over the period, especially right from the beginning of this year. So we should not pretend all is well, all is not well, and we still do not have access to the international credit market and stuff like
because
that.
We've been blocked.
Yes.
And even from the IMF's perspective, there's a cap
Yes.
There's a cap of a sort. That's where we can go and borrow and how much we can even borrow.
And they are still on us,
yeah,
monitoring us. So we should not pretend all is well. So, I mean, bringing on board fresh infrastructure development and project, I don't think that is ideal.
Come next month, September, there's going to be a review with the IMF.
Yes.
Are we in good standing such that we would have the next tranche of the...
Yes, I am 100% sure that we are in good standing. See, we are not misbehaving. It is the case that we have misbehaved seriously in the past. For now, we are almost fine. And it is always the case that when we go to IMF, then we become decent.
We behave.
Yes. So you see how we are talking about... See how they are sticking to the budget. You see, you talk about they didn't introduce any fresh things and stuff. Yes, it's because they have to be disciplined, and they are attempting to be disciplined. Now, my only hope is that the so-called deficit we say we would do, the 7.7%, my hope is that we don't do that. We try to do below 5% or at least 5%. Because last year we did 11%, and I think that was woefully high. We should be careful how much of these things we call for ourselves. And I think if we do well, and next year being an election year, if we still manage to be disciplined, then we'll be fine. But we should be careful because next year we are up for elections, and in most cases prior to that, we start doing the things we do. Creating roads where there are no roads and asphalting roads that will become feeder in the next few months. These are things we should be looking at, and we should be trying to adjust.
So for the ordinary Ghanaian, for the person who lives in Kumasi, works in Kumasi, what should the person expect between now and end of year? What kind of economy are we going to have? How is it going to impact our lives? What should we expect? And don't forget that even when the finance minister was speaking, he said himself he is a family man. I'm trying to get that portion, Leo, if you can get, try from there.
Government expects that by end 2023, the DEP will have fully seeded some 7,500 acres of rice, onboarded qualified private sector entrepreneurs as anchor farmers, embarked on value chain activities such as rice milling and packaging in Kasunya. With these efforts, Mr. Speaker, we expect to gradually drive down the food component of inflation, create jobs for our youth, improve food security, and reduce the volatility of the forest market. Mr. Speaker, there will be renewed efforts to undertake the necessary reforms and implement very critical measures. As a finance minister and a family man myself, I'll continue to work hard to build and sustain a favorable macroeconomic environment and remain confident that the prices of goods and services will reflect the trend for all of us, for all our families and enterprises.
What do you deduce from what he's saying? What should I expect as a Ghanaian worker, as a family man, as somebody who expects some positives in the economy?
Well, some families are in V8, other families are in V8. So we have levels of families, but all the same, we're all Ghanaians. But you see, if you are in Kumasi,
and listeners, you can join us now on 03220-83596, 03220-83597, 03220-83598. You can call us now if there's a question you want answered. Well, we'll try and give you that answer. But if you want to make reference to what you heard from the finance minister yesterday, whether it met your expectations or not, again, you can give us a call. Let's do this together on 03220-83596, 03220-83597, and 03220-83598. You can do this with me right now. Christoph, good morning to you, sir.
Brother David, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Chris.
David, my father and my boss is listening. Nana Semenshia of SD Mall is a good man. I want to say hello to him, Nana. David, was there something like employment in the budget? I didn't follow. Actually, so I was in class, so I couldn't follow. But did you see anything about employment, that they'll give people employment and number? Is it just something like that?
He touched on the U-Start. He touched on this Kumewu, Ghana Cares and the Kumewu, where the national service and people will be put into, farming. That will create jobs. Those are some of the things that he mentioned. Yes,
David, there should be social interventions. Employment should be number one. Employment, though, David, not good trainees. They are still in the house. Our nephews, our nieces, our sons and daughters are still in the house. The government even owes them a whole year. David, two, We have to widen the tax net. The taxes are killing us. David, I run a school. I have to rent the place, I have to pay my teachers, I have to pay water bill, to pay light bill. Then I have to pay taxes to the government. And they come to my place almost every day. KMA people, they come every day and all that. So when we widen the tax net, it means that more people will be in the net. And so if we decrease the amount that we pay, it will help. But if the same people are being targeted, are being forced to pay taxes, when others who have businesses don't pay tax, it means that you are putting a burden, you are giving us an excruciating pain. That's why doing business in Ghana is very, very high. So please, to me, these two concerns, employment, and then let's widen the tax net so that people who are not in a tax net will also come in. David, our mothers in the market, the money they make, you don't have an idea, but they don't pay anything to the government. You know, so I think that number two thing that we should look at, one, employment, two, let's widen the tax net so that we can reduce the amount people pay as taxes so that we can have a better life.
Thank you very much. Let me now speak to Timmy. Timmy, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome, Timmy. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, talking about taxing these artisans, what environment have government created for government to tax them? I don't know. I don't know why. And you were talking about most of the road being done. Have you passed through TUC Junction? Thank you for the good work you're doing for Ghana.
Well, Timmy, thank you very much. I didn't say that they've done all the roads. So I mentioned what was captured in the mid-year budget review yesterday, where he talked about the Lake Road. And I'm saying that, yes, 98% I will agree because I've seen that work is being done. So that's what I said, Timmy. And I also talked about the Swami interchange, where, of course, my guest is saying that he thinks that there's going to be a challenge in terms of its completion date, 36 months. Bonzi, good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning, David.
Welcome, sir.
So, my contribution is this. You see, we keep bringing up new programs here and there, and we hope that it will create employment. We've had planting for food and jobs. Where are the food and where is the job? We have many other flashy programs, and yesterday he mentions another one, and we are there excited about it, that we are hoping. And what has happened to all the programs that we've had? We are excited they're going to do what tomatoes and what have you, when food prices will come down. In the midst of having planting for food and jobs, food crops, the prices on the market kept going up. So what is the guarantee? This government keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting that there will be a different result. Excuse me, but literature has made us understand anybody who does that, that's the definition of you can fill in the blank. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Bonzi, for the call. We have time to pick two more calls, and that will be it. And then we'll be bringing to you some messages from our voice from our WhatsApp console. Seth, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Let's hear you, sir.
Okay. Though the budget yesterday was straightforward, but then it doesn't seem to address our current situation or problem that we are facing as a nation. Okay, why am I saying this? You look at the SSs, okay, it's too many. And look at the administrative costs, the number of ministers. I think the government could have done better by reducing the number. It's too huge. And each minister, they have deputy ministers, they have all this kind of people, moving around them and all that. So for us to raise money, it is better for the government to reduce that ministers. It's too huge. And also the sanitary part. I think government should do something about it. Come on, already we are suffering. And our ladies, you have a country where ladies are female, they have the number. They are more than the males, you understand? So it's not fair that you place a lot of taxes on it. And it's like you are depriving them of their human rights. It's a human rights issue.
I hear you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for calling. Our final caller is in David. Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Good morning.
Long time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did.
Oh, okay. David, can your resource person help me a little bit with with this information. Yesterday, I listened to the business news, not the budget. I don't know everybody, but Bank of Ghana was posting some losses of 60 billion. Can he help me a little into what goes into that? I don't know if they are what mandate. Are they supposed to make profit or loss? I don't get it. If he can really help me a little.
So David, an answer is coming up here because I know that if they make profits, it should go into the consolidated fund. But that's why they'll be running negatives. Is it because we have overborrowed? What's the challenge? What's the problem?
Yes, the challenge is that they also got a haircut. They also had issues with the government and were doing debt exchange, so it affected them. And obviously, they also had a lot of expenditure, even on their cars alone. We can go through the figures maybe on a good day, and so many things. They even made losses because of the exchange rate. They also have foreign reserves, and sometimes they need to convert and others. So they also made losses, and there are so many ways they can make losses. But obviously, because they are for us, when they make losses, it is for us. When they make profits, into the consolidated fund. So that is a problem. But the danger is that they are supposed to be the bank of last resort. So when our banks are struggling, they go for bailout.
But again, if they are bankrupt, who will be helping other banks to get money to run their businesses then?
If you like him, there's a him help of the helpless. So I think that is where we are.
My goodness. All right, so let's go on to our WhatsApp console and take a listen to 2 or 3 voice messages that have come through, beginning with this one.
Good morning, Dave. This is Isaac. Akufo-Addo Memo, a friend of there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I could not see anything in this budget that is going to alleviate the poverty of Ghanaians. We expected that some taxes, some nuisance taxes be taken off. Okay, what are they doing with the e-levy? The things that they said that they're going to do with the e-levy, why didn't he talk about it? The COVID levy, all the monies that we receive for COVID, we are still imposing COVID taxes on us. How wicked can you be? Okay, the ordinary Ghanaian salary has not been increase to commensurate with the rising price of goods and services. And we are being told that fuel prices are going to go up from today. So what is the guarantee that we are even going to end the year with an inflation of 31%? When Dr. Bawumia came to lie to us about some subsidy for rent, what has happened to that? And there are 80-something MPs that said they didn't want the finance minister. Why is he still presenting our budget?
But if you listen to him yesterday, he said, as your finance minister and a family man, I work hard. It tells you that Shalom Kobe.
Dave, good morning and good morning to all Ghanaians. Dave, I want to ask, so when are we going to have a surplus or balanced budget? It seems every blessed year we have a deficit budget. Every blessed year we have a deficit budget. It means the managers of our economies are not good enough to manage our economy. Where are the economic messiahs and the economic professionals? They are nowhere to be found. I think a Kwiadonkor economic team can even perform better than what the NPP government are doing. Look at what's happening at the BOG report, shambolic report, and the man is still at post. That man need to resign. He can't do anything. They need to resign.
Process is that possible? Can we ever achieve a surplus?
It will be dangerous. Look,
dangerous or difficult?
Dangerous. Look,
what do you mean dangerous?
We will be deceiving ourselves. Look, the primary balance. The primary balance is different because that doesn't have to do with the debt financing and the rest, the interest payments and the likes. We projected a positive balance. Now we've converted it to negative. So it will be difficult
and
for us.
Our import cover is bad and looking very bad.
Yes, it's not.
It's supposed to be like 3 months.
3 months mostly, but now it's even 1 month we are struggling to have. So, in fact, this is not the time to talk about surplus positive balance at all.
Tell me why it has to be this way. Working every day just for this little pay. 7 days a week, got to be upon my feet. Rain or shine, got to be out in the street. For so long I've been working so hard, 5 just to keep my kids alive.
All right, so from Nana Amakumhene to the dear daughter Julia Asari Bafo, a blessed birthday to you, Julia. May God richly bless you. It's from your dad. And that is Nana Amakumhene. Meanwhile, Charlie, to all the mothers out there, I've got some great news for you. Listen, having your baby try out different tastes and flavors isn't just about giving them a change of taste. This helps to develop their palates and prepares them better for accepting varieties of adult food as they grow. So go ahead and try any of the 6 Cerelac variants on the market. They are beautiful, nutritious, and healthy. They are the wheat, the maize, the rice, the biscuity, the fruit pieces, and millet. Remember, each bowl of Cerelac contains goodness that helps your child's normal growth and development. Cerelac, it's all good, mom. And this advert is FDA approved. Now, for the laundry drop-off or the grocery pickup or even the lunch sit-down plus the filling of your tank, when asked cash or card, please say card. Listen, it's always card for me. I switched from cash to card and I'm excited about it. For all my payments, I use MasterCard. Get your MasterCard and use it for your payments as well. Don't do cash anymore. All right? Meanwhile, listen, do you know you can purchase tertiary admission forms at any CBG branch nationwide? Buy tertiary forms of University of Ghana, University of Cape Coast, Ghana Communication Technology University, University of Environment and Sustainable Development, Cape Coast University, SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Kumasi Technical University, KNUST Institute of Distance Learning and Postgraduate Forms, Akintina Piamenka University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Bolgatanga Technical University, Takrady Technical University and University of Education Winneba from any CBG branch nationwide. Visit any of the 114 branches nationwide to purchase your tertiary admission forms. Now, for further enquiries, all you need to do is just call 0302-216-000. You can send a mail to talktous@cbg.com.gh or visit any of our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, so let's now talk about your preferred tank. So, what is your preferred color of tank? Syntex has it. What guarantee do you want? Syntex has it. Now, what kind of inner layer are you looking for? Double, triple, quadruple? Well, any inner layer you want, as many as you want, Syntex has it too. So remember, no matter your water needs, Syntex has it. Syntex tank, you're strong, you're tough. Now, they have over 300 agents nationwide. To order a tank, you can call 0244 335 168. Visit Syntex on social media at Syntex Ghana or shop online on www.syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, like I said, you're strong, you're tough. Now let's talk about the Institute of Distance Learning, KNUST. They are announcing that application e-vouchers for admission into diploma, undergraduate and postgraduate programs through the distance learning mode are now on sale. Diploma programs on offer are architectural technology, business administration, information technology, and many more. The undergraduate programs on offer include business administration with 7 options, quantity surveying and construction economics, construction technology and management, and many more. Now, the Institute of Distance Learning also has several postgraduate programs on offer in the following areas: education, sciences, and business. You can use a short code *477*160# to buy the e-voucher for application. Applicants can also purchase online application e-vouchers from GCB Bank, EcoBank, Consolidated Bank Ghana, and apply online for further enquiries. You can visit idl.knusc.edu.gh or you can call 0247 274 661 or 0500 482 885 or 050 110 2650. You can also follow us on the various social media platforms. We're talking about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at IDL KNUST. KNUST IDL, providing flexible and quality education at your doorstep. Charlie, people are winning big on 590 mobile just by dialing *959#, selecting the game of the day, being Monday special all the way to Sunday Asida. But it be like say, boys don't know the rundown. Listen, make I tell you, since you play via Momo, your winnings are also paid also via Momo. Same day. And this kind of excitement, they make the boys, they talk too much. See, make I tell you something. Now your girlfriend, you won't talk, say you win 590 mobile. Just imagine all the type of hair, clothes, and bags she go buy just to sweep your account empty. Also, imagine if your mother gets to know. Now, she will give half of your winnings to the church harvest, and not to even speak of the boys. All the booze for town will be on you. So, Charlie, you for no say money changes people, so keep your winnings on the #. Always remember to stake responsibly, not for persons below the age of 18 years. 590 mobile at that 17. Now, have you been searching for the best place for your IELTS, your SAT and GRE tuition to make your study, scholarship and job acquisition abroad come true? Then look no further, because Zest Consult is the number one place for you. Zest Consult has taught over 5,000 individuals to pass the IELTS, SAT and GRE. Over 3,000 nurses, midwives and other workers have passed their IELTS through us to work in the UK and USA. Some have also used the IELTS to also apply for schools outside the country. A number of students have also acquired scholarships through Zest Consult to study abroad for their undergraduate and postgraduate programs through our SAT GRE tuition. Now, we can help you study in the UK and USA, Germany, Australia, China, and many other countries, even under scholarships. Zest Consult is also into real estate services, and so they will assist in the selling or buying of buildings and litigation-free lands. Look at Zest Consult at Kumasi Cultural Center or Dichemsu near the Kumasi Airport roundabout. Call them on 0555-631-633 or 050-9092-330. Zest Consult. Excellence is our hallmark. Now, is your car experiencing electrical and mechanical problems? Do you want your air conditioners repaired at the best price and quality? Well, Kumasi Auto Detail is here for you. At Kumasi Auto Detail, our Ghanaian and international engineers are there to provide you with services such as general repairs, injection services, tire services, engine and gearbox management, vacuuming, AC gas refilling and flashing, and computer diagnostics. Now, if your car parts are not available, Kumasi Auto Detail can order from outside within a week. Also, you can relax at their reception and watch your car being fixed on a CCTV monitor. The good news is they provide warranty even after sales. Look at Kumasi Auto Detail, opposite Unity Oil, Malcolm Road, Durban, next to Ennis Hybrid School. Send them a mail at Kumasi Auto Detail at yahoo.com. You can call them on 0559717034 or 0257977433. At this point in time, we're getting ready to cross over to Joy 99.7 to bring to you more on the Super Morning Show. Of course, it's going to be centered on the media budget review presented to this nation through Parliament by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. In a bit, that comes up your way.